know this is like the 3rd time I've started this, so who knows whether this will be the actual one that goes on Instagram. Sorry, I promise I will stop playing with my hair, but it looks really blonde today actually. Anyway, happy World Mental Health Day. I put a thing up yesterday on Instagram saying I'm thinking about doing a video, and loads of people messaged me, like more than I was expecting, just saying like, you know, stuff that they'd like to hear someone talk about. Again, obviously just want to say, no way am I like a mental health expert. I'm not a therapist, couldn't be a therapist. I like talking about myself too much. I'm literally just someone who has had experience with it, so I thought today might be nice to just talk about some of the things that I do to help with my mental health, some of the things that I found really helpful. I'm not gonna like go into like my own, like what caused my mental health like to decline, just because I just don't really think it's like necessarily relevant, because I think that everyone's stories are so different, and I think a lot of people think that it's one thing that just happens and all of a sudden you're depressed, and that may be the case for a lot of people, but for me it wasn't. It was just, looking back, I've had probably mental health issues for a very, very long time, but I've only really received help for it like for the past year. So yeah, so obviously this World Mental Health Day is probably one of the most important, because obviously with everything that's going on, like mental health has been tested massively. I imagine people who don't really consider themselves to have mental health issues probably really have done, like these past couple of months, probably maybe experienced it for the first time. Also, if you just want to play a drinking game, take a shot or a drink every time I say the word probably, or obviously, or literally, them three words, say them a lot, so you'll get absolutely wasted. Again, I promise I will start looking at my reflection, but I am so not used to doing this. It's so weird. It's really, really weird. I did a Zoom, like quite an important Zoom call a few weeks ago, and I was just spent the entire time I just looking at my camera like, do I look alright? Like fixing it. I didn't even know what was going on. Anyway, I didn't actually get the thing that I Zoomed for. Obviously, too busy looking at myself. Anyway, yeah, so this World Mental Health Day, I've seen a lot of stuff as well about like people saying like, you know, I don't know why one day a year we discuss it and then no one talks about it again. I get that. And World Mental Health Day, it isn't a brand, it isn't something to help to kind of flog kind of your own stuff, but if there ever was a year to really utilise what this day is, I think it's this year. And obviously with me, just take a drink of me tea. I had depression for, well, I was diagnosed depression for just over a year. I've been on antidepressants for, again, just over a year. So yeah, I mean, obviously these past few months have been very different. What I think is really interesting, I wrote about this a fair bit, is like, I think sometimes we think that like things go like this. So obviously when I got diagnosed with depression and started taking the tablets, I thought amazing things are just going to go like this now because I'm getting better. But they don't. That's not how life works. So when I got diagnosed with depression, I took a new job, which I loved. Then I took another job that was a bit more structured, which again, loved. Met some really nice people, got really used to kind of having a bit more structure in my life, spending a bit more time on myself. And I was thinking, great, amazing, I'm getting there. And then my granddad died in Christmas just gone, Christmas Eve. Great time, my fella. And I remember, oh my god, why is it? Look at that. Oh, look, an egg. Sorry, I will try and not, I don't know. I do that a lot, you know, like I go into myself. I'm an egg. Anyway. I'm not gonna attract any men on these videos, am I? I hate myself. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah. So, my granddad died, and then obviously I went through a really bad time because of that. And your mental health, I think, kind of just bobs along with you. And, you know, I described it in the last piece of writing that I did about mental health as a bit like hay fever, in that hay fever as an illness creeps up and down, you can kind of say, I'm having a really bad day with my hay fever today, I need to take some more antihistamines, or do you know what, can we not go to the park because me hay fever's acting up. Your mental health for me kind of is the same. There are days where I'll wake up and feel absolutely on top of the world, I'll be fine, and by 5 o'clock that evening I, you know, can't see away past tomorrow. And it's so strange, and it can be so temperamental. And as well, obviously I suffer with depression and a slight bit of anxiety, not so much that I diagnose myself with anxiety, I just have some like anxiety tendencies. But you know, they're not the only mental health problems that happen at them. You know, you've got people with bipolar personality disorder, schizophrenia, anyway, I can't say that word. Eating disorders, PTSD, all of these things are under the umbrella of mental health. Sorry. This is awful. But yeah, they're all under the umbrella of mental health. So obviously I'm only talking about what I've experienced, which is depression and slight anxiety. But as a whole, the main thing to take away from days like today is to talk about it. Like, every time I do anything to do with mental health, the amount of people who message me and go, oh my god, I need to hear this, oh my god, I'm going through that. Like, why didn't I know that some of my closest friends were on antidepressants until I started taking them? Do you know what I mean? Why, when I started taking antidepressants, did I not feel comfortable when, like, you make me like, oh, what are you up to, or oh, what's going on? Why did I not feel comfortable to go, actually, I've been put on tablets? Like, why didn't I, you know, I mean, I am quite lucky that I have got, I say this a lot, but I have got the best support group with my friends in the world. Not one of them like reacted like anything short than fantastic when I told them that obviously I was struggling. And it does beg the question, like, why didn't I talk to them sooner? And I think that's something that we really need to work on as a society, is knowing that we can talk and knowing that a lot more people deal with it than we think. But obviously that just comes with knowledge, that just comes with exposure, and hopefully, you know, people like me doing stuff like this when in reality they've, you know, I haven't got a massive follower or anything, I'm not anyone special, I'm just someone who doesn't necessarily feel that ashamed about it anymore. So, you know, if me doing this gets even one person to think, oh, you know what, I'm going to feel comfortable enough to tell my friends, I'm going to go to the doctors, then fucking fantastic. Like, absolutely belter. I don't even say belter in real life. Sorry. Right. So something that a load of people messaged me about was coping mechanisms. Loads of people messaged and were like, how do you cope day to day with your mental health? Day to day, I obviously take my tablets, and I now am quite good at recognising when I'm having a down day, or when I'm having you know, a quite a bad moment, when I'm particularly poorly. And what happens to me is I get dead, like, I don't know how to explain it, I get dead down on myself. Like, you know, I make jokes about my life all the time, but when I get really bad mental health days, I convince myself that I am the world's worst and I am going nowhere in life, I don't deserve to go anywhere in life, I don't deserve to be loved, I find all the things wrong with my life and go, focus on these are horrific and they're never going to get better. And, you know, that's what happens to me, and I just feel I don't want to be around anyone because no one loves me, no one's my friend, I can't trust anyone. And that's what happens to me, that's my depression, that's how it really acts up. I look around the room and I think, I don't want to be here, I don't look, you know, no, none of you understands what I'm going through. And for me, it's quite a selfish, like, reaction, because my brain convinces me that I am the only person. How big are my hands? I've never noticed that before. Did you ever do that in school where someone would say, if your hand can fit your face, you've got cancer? Was that like a thing, or did I just go to school with like absolute psychopaths? I think about that all the time. That's fucking weird. Imagine saying that to someone now. If your hand... Maybe that's why I've got mental health issues, because someone told me I had cancer when I was in like year 5. No, less than that. I think I was in like year 2. I think I was in prime, like infants. Anyway, weird. Tangent. But yeah, like my brain can make me feel like I am the only person in the whole world who is feeling like this. Little spoiler alert, you're not. Like, honest to God, like, this is one of my coping mechanisms, is when I feel like absolute shite, or when I'm having a really bad day, I remind myself that so many other people are feeling that way too, and it's normal. It's okay to feel like that, because you know it's not true. And that's something that I really had to get my brain around, was going, okay, I know I'm telling myself this, but I also know it's not true. And I also know that even if it's tomorrow, if it's next week, if it's next month, I won't feel like this anymore. Something else that I tend to do, I worry a lot about the future. As I said, with kind of the bad things in my life, thinking they're not going to get better, I now, as a coping mechanism, I have to teach myself how to take things day by day. Because if I look too far into the future and I look at where I am now, I think, well, I'm never going to get anywhere further, so what's the point? So I really have to teach myself how to, you know, go, okay, this is today, all we're going to do is get through today, and then tomorrow we'll get through tomorrow, and anything that comes up, we get through them today. As long as we get through today, as long as we get through this week, as long as we get through this month, and then obviously, you know, months go by and your life's better, maybe it's worse, who knows. But for me, taking things day by day and teaching my brain that I have to go day by day is a massive help. Something else, really sorry about this, I despise myself for saying it, really annoys, because believe me, didn't think I'd ever be saying this, but exercise. Yeah, look, I wanted laying in bed all day eating Ben and Jerry's to help my mental health. Doesn't. Sadly, getting up and going for a run does. I know, I fought it for years, but it does. It actually does. Exercise helps. As Elwood said, you know, exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't kill. Just a little musical theatre reference there. But they don't. Happy people don't kill. I don't want to kill anyone when I've come back for a run. As far as I know, yes. But yeah, I mean, I love walking as well. I walk a lot, and I think that I have really kind of took advantage of that with everything that's been going on. I've been walking a lot more because there's nothing else to do, but like, that really helps me. I always come back feeling a bit more refreshed, and it just kind of gets me going and myself like moving. Another thing, your surroundings, I find really important. So my kind of like, what's the word, like, go-to mental health state kind of thing of my time is to literally lie in my bed and do fuck all. I just lie there. I don't want to speak to anyone, I don't want to do anything, I just want to lie in my bed, because I don't want to do anything else. Nothing else seems viable or like worthwhile, so I just lie there. And something that, like, when I'm really bad, like, the first thing that I do to make myself feel better is I get out of bed and I make my bed, and then I literally just lie back on my bed. It sounds so stupid, but that difference of making your bed and just lying on top of a made bed, something in my brain just goes, oh, okay, this is a bit better. Another thing to do with, like, your surroundings, flowers. I've literally gone out now. I'd move my phone and show you, but I'm so scared that I won't get it back to this angle that I don't want to. But like, literally just before, I've bought flowers and I put them in my room. I've started buying flowers for myself. I buy flowers, I'd say, every like 2 weeks, like obviously when they start dying. And I put them in my room, and I love it because it's something pretty to look at, and it just gives my room a bit more brighter. It makes the, you know, the room just feel a bit more cozier and nice. So I love that. What else? The food that you're eating. I hate myself. But turns out, the healthier you eat, the better you feel. I know. Shite that, innit? Absolute shite. I do genuinely think that, you know, don't get me wrong, I had Domino's on Monday and it was absolutely fit as fuck. But, you know, when I was like, during my like really, really, really bad like time where I was just an absolute mess, I was eating horrifically because I didn't care. I didn't care about what I was putting in my mouth. I didn't care about my body. Going back to that kind of triggers, I stopped doing my nails. I stopped getting my eyelashes done. I stopped getting my hair done. I stopped caring about my appearance. Now, these all seem like really small things, and maybe they're a bit vain. Like, I know people are like, well, why do you get them? Like, that's not a big thing. But for me, it was. I loved doing that kind of stuff, and I didn't. And that's how I knew I was ill. I stopped posting on social media. There's like a massive gap in my, well, not a massive gap for normal people, but for someone who's like as addicted as I am, there is a bit of a gap, because I wasn't posting on social media because I just didn't give a shit. I wasn't going on anything. I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't write. I didn't want to write. And that was a massive trigger for me. That's how I saw. So for me, you know, getting my hair done, getting my eyelashes done, getting my nails done, all that kind of stuff, making me feel better, actually helps my mental health in the strangest way possible. Also, I've got resources. I'm so prepared. This isn't an ad, by the way, because why would anyone ask me to do that? Look at this. You see that? It says don't overthink. This is from, right, I don't really see that. It says, oh, fucking hell, how do people do this? I'm not going to put my hand behind it like that. Imagine, because I'm not a tit. But that's Fern Cotton Happy Place. Basically, this was a set that I got for Christmas, just gone. And it was like, me dad and stepmom got me it, and it was like a massive like set of like shower lotions and sprays and stuff like that. And I have a sleep mask, and it's called Happy Place, and it's just like loads of like pampery stuff, but like it's calming spray and like sleep spray, and it came like this colour and stuff and like crayons. It is so soothing to colour in. Again, sounds really stupid. When you're having a bad time, just start colouring in. It will really soothe you. I talk about this woman a lot, but she is one of my coping mechanisms. Bryony Gordon wrote Mad Girl. Actually, when was it? It's a good few years ago now. I read it in 2018, but I think it had been out for about a year at that point. But yeah, Mad Girl by Bryony Gordon. A Happy Life with a Mixed Up Mind. And I really resonated with this, and there's a bit in it, if I had been more prepared I would have found it, but I'm not, where it says people think that depression's either black and white. You're either depressed or you're not, and you either live the life of a depressed person or you don't. Which I really resonated with, because I still, even at like my darkest point, why am I still holding it? I still go out and had fun and had a ball and was laughing, smiling, was on videos, having a, you know, great time. But I was depressed as anything. I was ill, but no one would have known it, because I was still on paper having the best time. And that's what she says, that you can have the best times and the worst times simultaneously. And it's so true. I think in our heads we think of depressed people or people with mental health issues as, you know, living in a room on their own, crying, scraping their hair out, you know, tear marks down the face. That's not necessarily true. I literally, up until I'd say like a few weeks before I ended up getting diagnosed, I was still having an absolute scream. Like, and you don't realise that you're really struggling, but you live with depression. It's a I still now, even at my darkest time. Bryony Gordon, Mad Girl, Happy Life with a Mixed Up Mind. If you are struggling with your mental health, if you just feel like you could do with just like, I don't know, having a read, or if reading helps, I would really recommend looking at Bryony's range, because her books are absolutely fantastic. They're so honest, they're real, they're not dramatised. Anyway, they're not like, you know, done for show. It's all real, and it's brutally honest at times. Like, I'm brutally honest on social media, but she is like, and it's not for like attention purposes, like it's not like that. She is just genuinely saying, listen, like, this is really, really poor, but like, look where I am now. I'm okay, but I'm also not okay, and that's okay. But she's amazing, and she actually ended up running a marathon for the Mind charity, which is in her book Eat, Drink, Run, which again is a fantastic book to read. But she's brilliant, and she's one of my coping mechanisms, because she really helped me understand my own brain and understand that everyone feels like this and it's weirdly normal not to be normal, if that makes sense. So yeah, she's amazing. So they're my coping mechanisms. With the coronavirus, keeping in touch with people, like specifically the coronavirus, keeping in touch with people, reading, colouring in, and finding like stuff that, so I've seen a meme recently and it was like comfort shows. This is a real thing. Like, I have certain TV programs that I watch religiously, like repeat watching them, because they make me feel safe. So we all have them, and even if you're not watching them, just having them on in the background while you're having a really bad, like if you're having a really bad moment, sit there, lie down, whatever, close the curtains, but put that on and have that stimulation there. It will help, I promise. That comfort and that safety of like knowing what's going to happen, knowing these characters. Obviously, I mean, personally, mine are all comedies because I've grew up watching comedies. Like, I'm a proper, like, a comedy fan. But they didn't really have to be. I know people who are comforted by murder mysteries. I still think you're a psychopath, by the way, if that's true, but hey ho. But yeah, like, that's what I have on. Podcasts as well. Shagged, Married, Annoyed by Rosie and Chris Ramsey, which again is just all over my social media. Literally got me through lockdown. I started listening to it at the start of lockdown, like from the very beginning. They've got like 87 episodes, I think they're up to now, 85, 87. And I've literally listened to them all and now I'm up to date. That got me through lockdown, literally. Just going for walks, as I said. Like, I'd be walking on the street crying because I'd be having a really bad day, but I'd have these two in. So like, I'd be crying and laughing at the same time, which probably made me look absolutely deranged. But it was fantastic. So find that program or that podcast or that game or something that you feel makes you just feel safe. It really works. Oh my god, my nails are a show. But yeah, so when it comes to coping mechanisms, they're mine, and I've found that they work. Whether they continue to work, I don't know, but we'll see, and we move and we keep going and hoping for the best. Another thing that people wanted me to mention, I've kind of mentioned about being like a bubbly, outgoing person and living with mental health. Again, it's the classic thing of you never know what's going on behind closed doors. You never know what someone's feeling inside unless you talk to them about it. I think that it is mad the amount of people who are on antidepressants and you wouldn't know. I mean, obviously, it's not a visible illness, but I think you really do always have to be mindful, because you have no idea what people are going through, and it's just kind of having that awareness of you very well could be struggling, so I'm gonna treat you as you are. I mean, like, I'm gonna treat you with respect. I mean, we should be treating everyone with respect anyway, but yeah, so I think you really never ever know, and sometimes the more outgoing that you are, maybe the more you're struggling. Like, when things were quite bad, looking back, I was going a bit more mental on nights out and stuff. I know that sounds so cliche, but I remember the races. I went to the alternative ascot, which I go every year, and this was the real peak of when I was really ill, because I knew I was going to lose my job in like 2 days, but that's a whole other kettle of fish. I was with Chelsea at the races, and she said to me, she's like, oh my god, you're on one today, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get bevied, and I got disgustingly drunk, and I was literally hiding like behind the alcohol, and I remember I fell over like in the middle of the like the races, this really posh day, and I was that dickhead. I literally went right on my ass, and I got up and I was like, my bother, and I got home and I spent the entire night, I was up vomiting and crying. And what's really funny is there's a picture on my social media as well. I'm in like a red dress and I'm in Aintree, and I am like laughing in the picture. And I remember loads of people commenting like, you look so happy, oh my god, you're glowing. I was like, thank you. And I look like I'm having the best time ever. That was like the worst time of my life. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I'll share the picture when I put this up. But yeah, perfect example of you literally just never know. You literally just never ever ever know what is going on. And behind that picture, you would have not thought that there was someone who was contemplating ending their life. Like, you wouldn't have thought that. But yeah, so don't take for granted that people are okay, even if they're acting like they are. Is that making sense? Yeah. Yeah, I've wrote notes. Do you know why I've wrote notes? Because I am a qualified adult. And I've got notes. Just gonna flip the notes over. Oh yeah, something that loads of people again messaged me was about relationships with people who've got mental health issues. Because I know a lot of my friends have kind of been victim to people using their mental health as an excuse to treat you like crap. For me, I had to learn, before I suffered my own mental health, I was victim to, well, I haven't really talked about it a lot, I'm not going to, because I really can't be asked dragging it all up, but I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for about 4.5 years. I didn't know at the time it was emotionally abusive, to be honest with you, I still would have let's all be real, but, and he used to use his mental health as an excuse, and looking back, it wasn't a viable excuse. I mean, there's a difference in someone being like, look, I'm having a really bad day, I need your help, than going, like, he once told me to die. He actually said to me, I remember it really clearly, he said, well, why don't you just fuck off and die? And then he was like, I'm sorry, I was just having a really bad day. And I was like, and at the time, I was like, oh my God, it's fine, I'm sorry. Like, why did I apologise for him telling me to go die? Do you know what I mean? I mean, this is not about my ex-boyfriend. But yeah, and, and most, this happened literally not actually that long ago. I was in I wasn't in a relationship with him, but I was quite serious with this person. And he basically used the fact that his mental health was bad, that he couldn't make a commitment to me. And then I saw him in Tesco in the juice aisle with another girl, doing a big shop. So obviously he was in a relationship with her. But again, different story. Oh, that was great. But yeah, using mental health as an excuse. You've got to find that balance between being there for someone and helping someone and understanding them, but not letting it, wreck your mental health. Because if someone's really suffering with their mental health and they drag you down with them, like, I don't mean down as in like, make you like, drag you down, like, you're depressing them with the conversation. I don't mean that. I mean, like, force you to become a shell of yourself while trying to sustain them. That's not, where we should be. That's not where you should be. And I obviously, I can't speak for other people, and this is just a general kind of thing. You need to know when to step away. You can only help someone who wants to help themselves. And that may sound so shitty and so horrible, but it's so true. You can only help those who want help. You can't you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Hey, that's one of my granddad's sayings. But yeah, and it's true. You can't make people get help, and you can't you can't push yourself into a hole just to get someone else out of it. Get me a guitar and I'll start like doing. That sounds like a song, doesn't it? Is that how you play guitar? Anyway, yeah. So I think when it comes to relationships with people that have bad mental health issues, just be there and just listen. And that's another thing as well. Like, someone said to me, how do you react when someone tells you that they're struggling? My biggest thing is listen. Don't get defensive. Don't tell them that they're gonna be fine. I hate that. I hate people go saying, oh, it'll pass. It's just, you know what, you'll be fine. Get yourself out this weekend. No, just the thing that I have learned with mental health is when you're having a bad time, accept you're having a bad time, and again, get through it day by day. Someone dismissing you and going, you'll be fine, cheer up, get over it, oh my God, why are you even depressed? You've got loads to live for, let's have a pink gin, woo! Like, all of that shit, like, that doesn't work, and it's not going to help anyone. So just listen, let them talk, treat it seriously, and again, just take it in. and then ask if there's anything you can do. That's my biggest one. Ask if there's anything that you can do. And 9 times out of 10, I guarantee they'll probably say, do you know what, just talking about it's made me feel better. Literally. And that's all my friends did when I told them I was struggling. They all literally just listened and went, okay, well, let's just carry on and we see how we go, and we continue. And we did, and it was perfect, and they reacted so brilliantly and so wonderfully, and I was so grateful. And not once does anyone go to me, why are you depressed? You've got no reason to be. Or like, you'll be fine, like, what are you doing that for? Why are you taking tablets? You're being dramatic. And I'm a dramatic person, and not once did they tell me I was being dramatic, which, you know, is amazing. So yeah, so that's kind of my thing about reacting to it. I'm trying to think, was there anything? A lot of the things I got were like the same points, which is like coping mechanisms, relationships, how to react when someone tells you about mental health, coping mechanisms. Yeah, I think I don't want to kind of talk for hours and hours and hours, because, well, no one wants that, and I was annoying myself. But yeah, just at the end of the day, everyone's mental illness is specific to them. People will react differently to different treatments. People will react differently to my coping mechanisms that I've suggested. They may not work, but sorry, but in all honesty, especially with this time, just check up on people, ask how they are. If you're struggling, tell someone, and just accept that it's so normal. And obviously this goes out saying, you know, my door is always open. I don't mean my front door, because that'd be a massive security risk, and we did actually get burgled like 2 years ago. They stole the car. Can you believe it? We found it on Breck Road. Well, we didn't find it, the police found it on Breck Road. But we got another one by then. Anyway, it's not part of this. But yeah, obviously, like, my message me if you ever need to talk about mental health. Message your friends. I guarantee you your mates will be sound. I'd bet my life on it. And if they're not your mates. That's really harsh, but they're not. And even people who've never experienced it before, themselves or other people, doesn't mean that they're going to be shit to talk to. It really doesn't. The worst people, then, I have to say, are 11 Arifas. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm really struggling with mental health today. Oh my God, so am I. Listen to why. Oh, well, you know, I've had a fight with my boyfriend. I've had a fight with 7 of my boyfriends. You know, I'm on 50 milligrams of sertraline. I'm on 100 grams. You know, you just like, stay away from them people if you can in general life. But you know, 11 Arifas are always going to exist. But yeah, I guarantee you, your mates will be better than you think, and your family. Do you know what though? Some people aren't lucky enough to have the family to talk to. So, you know, if you genuinely think that you don't have anyone to talk to, you know, the Samaritans are there. Mind Charity, they're amazing. Mind Charity. I'll put some links in the description to this video. Oh my God, I'm an influencer. But I'll put some links in, and there are not enough resources in the slightest, but there are charities out there that will listen, and they will help. They will. I was lucky enough that I had the right people around me, that I didn't necessarily need to go elsewhere. I was very lucky to have such incredible friends and people who've been through it before. And yeah, so if you're not as lucky, there are people to talk to. Yeah, don't be ashamed of going onto tablets. I know there is a lot of stigma around antidepressants. It's the same as like contraception. I think find what works for you. If you take certain tablets and they don't react well, go back to the doctors, explain. I mean, I know they're trying to get appointments to the doctors now as harder than getting into uni, but like, explain that they're not working, they're giving you side effects, try something else. You know, there's a plethora, isn't that a great word? Plethora. There's a plethora of options available Yeah. Another point, learn to say no. This is something that I've had to learn. This is a personal to me, but I've had to learn how to say no. I was constantly on the ball in the sense of like being there for everyone, going to every event because I'm scared people would think I was a bad mate. I worked far too much. I worked far too many hours, and I just constantly was on, constantly, you know, laughing. I was that girl who wanted the big gym before. Like that was me, 100%. It still is sometimes for me. But to the point where I think I must have been like 7th on my list of priorities, genuinely. And you need to be number one. The only way we're literally going to get through any of this or life in general is if we have to put ourselves first. And you do. You need to learn how to say no. Talking to myself here now. Talking into a mirror. And, you know, just to kind of wrap it up, this is not me talking as someone who has conquered a mental health issue or has come away from it. I'm still very much depressed. I'm still very much mentally ill. And this is just someone talking who is in it and who is living through it. And I never want anyone to think that I'm preaching or that I am somewhat saying that I'm now above it and I can look, you know, down on those who are depressed. Oh God, look at my lips now there. My lips healed. Yeah. Now I've got like a bit of a scar, but nothing that interesting. But yeah, I'm living through it. I'm getting through it. I have my bad days. I have my good days. And it is so normal. It's not a choice. It happens to the best of us. And if you are struggling, please talk. If you know someone who's struggling, talk to them. And just remember that we are literally doing the best we can every single day. What a dramatic way to end the video. Oh my God, I might be good at this.